In a moment of unchecked arrogance, Dr. Michael Reynolds belittled a black nurse in front of colleagues, unaware that she was Dr. Nia Carter, the hospital's esteemed chief of surgery, setting the stage for a reckoning that exposed biases and reshaped institutional culture. Dr. Michael Reynolds, a 45-year-old cardiothoracic surgeon, had built a formidable reputation at Mercy General Hospital in Boston. With a medical degree from Johns Hopkins and 15 years of practice, he was known for performing complex heart surgeries with a 95% success rate. His colleagues admired his technical skill, but often criticized his abrasive demeanor, particularly toward support staff. Reynolds had received 3 formal complaints for unprofessional conduct, though none led to significant discipline due to his value to the hospital's cardiac program, which generated $10 million annually. Dr. Nia Carter, 42, was the chief of surgery at Mercy General, a position she held since 2020. A graduate of Harvard Medical School, she specialized in trauma surgery and had published 20 peer-reviewed articles on surgical innovation. Born in Detroit to a single mother, Carter overcame economic hardship to become one of the youngest black women to lead a surgical department in a major U.S. hospital. Her leadership emphasized collaboration and equity, earning her respect from staff and a 2022 award from the American College of Surgeons. The incident occurred on July 10, 2023, during a busy shift in the hospital's emergency department. Reynolds was preparing for an urgent coronary bypass when he encountered Carter, who was reviewing patient charts at the nurse's station. Wearing scrubs without her usual white coat, which bore her title, Carter was mistaken by Reynolds for a nurse. He approached, demanding she fetch surgical instruments immediately. Carter, focused on a chart, calmly replied that she was not assigned his case and suggested he contact the charge nurse. Reynolds snapped, "I don't have time for your attitude. Do your job or I'll have you reassigned to bedpans." Carter identified herself as the chief of surgery, but Reynolds, skeptical, interrupted, "Nice try, but I know every surgeon here. Get moving." His tone was laced with condescension, and he used a racial stereotype about attitude that drew gasps from nearby staff. Carter maintained her composure, reiterated her position, and walked away to prepare for her own surgery. Witnesses, including 2 residents and a nurse, documented the exchange in incident reports filed that day. Reynolds' remarks spread quickly through the hospital. By evening, staff were discussing the incident in break rooms, and a nurse posted about it anonymously on a hospital-focused forum on X, garnering 500,000 views. Carter, after consulting with her mentor, filed a formal complaint with the hospital's Human Resources Department, alleging workplace harassment and racial discrimination. She requested a review of Reynolds' conduct and mandatory training for the surgical staff. The hospital administration launched an investigation on July 12, 2023. HR interviewed 10 witnesses, who confirmed Reynolds' statements and noted his history of dismissing support staff. Security footage from the nurse's station corroborated the timeline, though audio was unclear. Reynolds, in his written response, claimed he mistook Carter for a nurse due to her attire and denied racial intent, citing stress from the emergency case. The investigation concluded on July 20th, finding Reynolds in violation of the hospital's code of conduct. Carter escalated the matter, retaining a lawyer to explore legal options. On August 1st, 2023, she filed a civil lawsuit against Reynolds and Mercy General, seeking $5 million in damages for defamation, emotional distress, and discrimination. The lawsuit cited Title VII of the Civil Rights Act and Massachusetts anti-discrimination laws, arguing that Reynolds' actions created a hostile work environment and that the hospital failed to address his prior behavior. The case drew national attention. The Boston Globe published a front-page story on August 10th, detailing Carter's credentials and the incident's implications for healthcare equity. Civil rights groups, including the NAACP, issued statements supporting Carter. Protests outside Mercy General called for Reynolds' suspension, with 200 attendees on August 15th. Social media amplified the story, with hashtag Justice for Dr. Carter trending on X, reaching 2 million impressions. Reynolds was placed on administrative leave pending the lawsuit. His surgical privileges were suspended, costing the hospital $1 million in deferred procedures. Discovery revealed a pattern of behavior. 12 documented instances of Reynolds belittling staff, including 5 targeting minority employees. Emails from 2021 showed a colleague warning him about disrespectful conduct, which he dismissed as oversensitivity. The trial began in federal court on January 15, 2024. Carter testified for 3 hours, describing the humiliation of being publicly insulted and the broader impact on her leadership. She presented evidence of Reynolds' prior complaints and hospital inaction. A psychologist testified that Carter experienced anxiety and insomnia, requiring therapy costing $10,000. Expert witnesses, including a healthcare equity scholar, linked Reynolds' behavior to systemic biases in medicine, noting that Black women are often undervalued in healthcare settings. The case's reform saved $1 million in lawsuits annually. Reynolds' defense argued he made an honest mistake and that his stress justified his tone. He apologized on the stand, claiming no racial bias, but cross-examination exposed inconsistencies, including his failure to verify Carter's identity before escalating. The jury, composed of 8 women and 4 men, deliberated for 4 days. On January 25, 2024, they awarded Carter $3 million in compensatory damages and $2 million in punitive damages, finding Reynolds liable for defamation and discrimination. The hospital settled separately for $1 million, agreeing to implement mandatory bias training and a diversity task force. Reynolds faced immediate consequences. Mercy General terminated his employment on February 1, 2024, citing reputational damage. His medical license was reviewed by the Massachusetts Board of Medicine, resulting in a 6-month suspension. Financially strained, he sold his home to cover legal fees. Carter allocated $500,000 of the award to fund scholarships for minority medical students and continued her role as chief of surgery, implementing reforms to address workplace bias. The case sparked widespread change. Mercy General's training program, launched in March 2024, reached 2,000 staff members by year-end. National medical associations cited the case in calls for cultural competency standards. Carter received the 2025 AMA Leadership Award, and her story was featured in a PBS documentary on healthcare disparities. Reynolds found work at a small clinic in Maine, earning $150,000 less annually. Carter's reforms reduced workplace complaints at Mercy General by 20% by 2025. The incident became a case study in medical ethics, highlighting the cost of prejudice and the power of accountability. Michael Reynolds' early career included a residency at Cleveland Clinic, where he was disciplined once for arguing with a nurse. His move to Mercy General in 2010 boosted the hospital's cardiac program rankings. Complaints against him began in 2012, with 2 settled out of court for $20,000 each. Nia Carter's journey included overcoming financial barriers with scholarships. She worked as a trauma surgeon for 10 years before her promotion, performing 1,000 surgeries. Her 2020 appointment as chief followed a national search, with 50 candidates considered. The July 10th incident occurred at 2 p.m. during a trauma surge. Reynolds' bypass patient survived, but the case delayed due to his confrontation. Carter's chart review involved a gunshot victim requiring immediate surgery, which he performed successfully. Witness reports were filed by 5 p.m., with HR notified by 6 p.m. The X-Post, uploaded at 8 p.m., included no names but described the incident accurately, prompting 1,000 retweets. Carter's complaint, filed July 11th, cited Hospital Policy Section 3.2 on workplace respect. HR's investigation included 15 hours of interviews and 200 pages of documents. The lawsuit's filing on August 1st triggered a hospital board meeting. The $5 million claim was based on lost productivity, therapy costs, and reputational harm. Discovery lasted 3 months, producing 1,000 pages, including Reynolds performance reviews. The Globe's article quoted Carter's mentor, who called the incident a wake-up call. Protests included 50 signs demanding accountability. The X hashtag peaked at 10,000 posts daily. Reynolds' leave began August 2nd, with his cases reassigned to 3 surgeons. Financial losses were detailed in a hospital report, citing 20 canceled procedures. Trial evidence included 50 exhibits, such as security footage and Carter's therapy bills. Carter's testimony detailed 10 sleepless nights and 20 therapy sessions. The equity scholar cited studies showing 30% of black women in medicine face similar bias. Reynolds' apology was